when she came out of rehab, she started her own business, and she said in 6 months she turned into a 6-figure business. And she said because she was addicted to her business.
And why is cheese so addictive? There is a morphine, like, you know, morphine as in the drug, a morphine-like substance in cheese, and I put on again about 6 stone in about 6 months. Well, everybody was calling him a chubby chaser, as in like he likes big girls, and I was like, oh my god, I'm the chubby that he's chasing.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Celia Lee Show. It's your girl Celia Lee. So today, as you can see, new setting, new studio, and we got, of course, another guest on, Carrissa.
Hello.
Where are you from? Tell them where you're from.
I'm from West Yorkshire, so I live in a place near Leeds.
Wow.
So yeah, quite a bit away from London. Yeah.
So Carrissa came all the way from Leeds.
Yeah.
Well, I can say Leeds.
Yeah.
For my podcast. No, I'm joking. She didn't really for an event, but I feel like you came for my podcast as well.
I would have done. If I wasn't coming, I would have done if you'd asked me. Yeah.
Okay, so we met on Instagram. And because I knew you was coming to London, we've been talking on Instagram, and I was like, because you're coming to London, I thought, let me use this opportunity to get you on, because I know you've got a business called Keep Me Curvy, which we'll talk about later, and it's about your body transformation. Like, well, not about, well, it is about body transformation, but I want to use your experience to help other people.
Absolutely.
So, and obviously, I want to talk about that, and also because I see you talk a lot about self-love, and that's what I like to talk about. It's close to my heart. So before we actually go into the podcast, what is self-love to you?
Oh, it's so many things. To me, self-love is having unconditional positive regard for yourself, loving, you know, everything about yourself, even the bits that you don't particularly like, the things that you've struggled with, just embracing everything about yourself, including your flaws. I think it's about forgiveness, respecting your body, respecting your mind, knowing how to, I don't know, best utilise your mind and your body to get the most out of your life. And setting boundaries, making sure people don't overstep those boundaries. Just loving yourself as you would love your baby if you had a baby.
Yes, exactly. That's what I always say. Like, self-love is like you would treat yourself like a baby. Have compassion, be gentle, be kind, basically. Yeah,
absolutely.
So when you say respecting your body, how would you, in your mind, what is that? What does that mean?
So it's going back to nature, really. So for me, it's drinking water, making sure I eat fruit, making sure I eat vegetables, making sure I move. Just making sure I'm flexible, I stretch. Not doing anything to myself that would sort of put me in a position where I don't feel safe. I have struggled with anxiety, so I used to have panic attacks a lot.
Really?
Yeah, so it was really hard sometimes to even leave the house. But that just stems from a feeling of not feeling safe. So anything I can do to just foster that sense of safety, really.
How did you start your fitness journey? So I saw your Instagram post, you posted like before and after, and it's a big change. Yeah. And I was like, well done, and it's really good. And take me from the beginning. Yeah.
Oh dear, okay. So as a child, I have always had a body, you know, I've always been quite thick, even as a little girl. And I remember somebody made a comment about, oh, be careful you don't like put on weight. And I was a bit like rebellious, and I was like, I am going to put on weight. I don't know why. I was just like, don't tell me what to do with my body kind of thing. I had a little attitude going on when I was about 9 or 10. And anyway, I must have manifested it because all of a sudden I was a lot bigger than my peers. So I probably was around 12 stone in year 7, which is quite big for somebody who is, you know, only 12 or 11.
Yeah. When you said you were big, were you like, you know, some people like are naturally that shape, but did you eat a lot, as in you gain weight?
Oh,
do you mean like
so I'd
unhealthy weight, basically?
Absolutely, yeah. So I was eating all the wrong things. I was eating takeaways, I was eating a lot of cheese, a lot of bread, a lot of processed foods, fizzy pop, sweets, chocolate, that sort of thing. And I think it was more of a comfort thing for me. I was comfort eating a lot. And one of my like biggest comfort foods was macaroni cheese.
Oh my goodness. I love macaroni cheese.
I know. I don't eat it anymore as much, but yeah, that was like, I just used to eat a lot, and it was all the wrong things.
I think it's coming like probably like a personal question. It is a personal question, but did you eat all of this because your family it was like your family wasn't really in that. They didn't really know how to eat healthy, or is something that you chose to eat on those?
Yeah, I think they tried, but my family is very slim, so there's never like any weight issues in my family. So everybody's quite slim, so they can eat what they want. That just didn't translate over to me, unfortunately. But yeah, so yeah, my nana, for instance, I lived with my nana for quite a big chunk of my childhood, and she literally eats sweets and chocolate and cakes and fizzy drinks, and then has like sandwiches for tea. So yeah.
You know what? When I was younger, I wasn't even allowed those stuff.
No.
My mum was really strict. I remember when I was younger, about probably like 5, 4. If you wanted crisp, my mum would always hide those crisps in the top cupboard, and then I used to be like, "Mum, can I have some crisps?" You're like, "Okay," but she would get it, and then she'd put a few in a little bowl, and then that's it, like that. And then and because she used to hide all the sweets, as I like got older, I was never. Even now, I'm not interested in sweets. I think I'm so used to it, and I was never allowed fizzy drinks. I just don't enjoy it anymore.
Oh, nice.
But don't get me wrong. Sometimes, you know, when you're so thirsty, when you have pizza, for example, for some reason, fizzy drinks and pizza go so well together.
Yeah, it's the salt and the sugar. Yeah.
Okay, so then you was size 12, and then this is, how old were you? Did you say?
Like 11 or 12, but I don't know what size I was. I know I was just a lot bigger than my peers. So clothes didn't really fit me very well because it was all like one size fits all trousers and the shirts and things.
How was you mentally? What did you think then?
Because I was a bit of a tomboy, I didn't really care. So I used to just wear... I don't think it was because of my body. I think it was just my personality. Yeah. I just would wear like really baggy tracksuits all the time and trainers, and my hair would be like slipped back with gel. So yeah, I didn't really care. It wasn't really something I was worried about. It wasn't until I don't know if you'd call it puppy fat really, because I sort of puppy fat, you know, when you're young and you've got like a bit of extra meat on you. I had just a bit too much extra meat on me. But as I got into my teenage years, I did slim out a little bit. So I probably around a size 12, 14 when I was like 15 to 19. So quite happy with my size. But then I got into like a really toxic relationship, and in the space of, I want to say 9 months, I am not exaggerating when I say I put on about 5 stone.
Because of the relationship? Yeah,
it wasn't a relationship I should have been in. I should have left it, but I didn't.
What made you put on weight? Is it like
I was like comfort eating. So comfort eating was a really big thing for me. That's something that I really struggled with. And then food addiction as well. So becoming addicted to certain foods, like the chemicals in certain foods are addictive.
Talk more about that, please. Yeah. So first of all, before you could talk about that, so were you stressed in that relationship? Yeah. That's why you was comforting?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Yeah, so I'd do things like, I remember I was broke, I was a student, and he was a student as well, so we was both broke. And I would spend, if I had £5, I would spend the whole £5 on chocolate and like extra large chips with cheese on, and I'd just eat until I felt better. So yeah, I ballooned massively during that.
What exactly is emotional eating? The difference between emotional eating and eating disorder?
Okay, so for me, this is how I would define emotional eating. Emotional eating is where you eat food to fill a gap because you don't feel good. So you might feel insecure, you might feel depressed or anxious or sad. Just you know, just something's lacking. You're not 100%, and you use food to fill the gap. So that's emotional eating for me. I think disordered eating exists on a spectrum. Yeah. So for me, it would be like, I wouldn't have said I had binge eating disorder, but if somebody was watching me, they might have said that, because I'd have everything on the bed, like the crisps and the chocolate. But I never sort of defined it that way. I was more like, I want to feel better, so I'm eating this food. But yeah, maybe somebody could have looked at me and said, oh yeah, this is binge eating disorder.
So like, you see, I want to understand, so, you know, at the time when, let's say, you know, did you know you're emotional eating?
No, not then. No.
So it's not something that we can tell people like, do you not want to eat better? Like, do you not want to live healthier? Like, it's not something easy as telling someone as easy as that, is it?
So you've got to address the root cause. So part of the Keep Me Curvy method, the weight loss method, is about addressing trauma. So I guess you would say that emotional eating stems from trauma, whatever that is, that feeling of emptiness or lack, or a feeling of unsafety. Or
can I ask what your trauma was?
Probably just from my childhood.
Okay.
Yeah, the way I was raised. I wasn't raised in a very stable background.
Okay.
So yeah, it was quite traumatic.
Okay.
There was a lot of neglect.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And then going back to food addiction, what is it like? I know, for me, it just sounds like you just continually want to eat, even if you're not hungry. You just want to eat.
Yeah,
eat.
absolutely. Yeah.
And is it a specific food or is it just food?
So there's different types. So there's, you know how people have got addictions to nicotine and certain drugs, and that would be like a chemical addiction because there's a compound in that substance that causes the body to get addicted to it. So there's certain foods like sugar. Sugar
addiction.
Absolutely, that's the chemicals in sugar are very very potent, like almost as addictive as cocaine. There's been studies done to say that. Wow. Yeah, absolutely. My big thing was cheese, so I looked into cheese and why is cheese so addictive, and Forbes magazine did a study. No, they didn't do a study, they wrote an article based on a study, and what they said was that there is a morphine, like, you know, morphine as in the drug, a morphine like substance in cheese that is there because the baby animals need to eat it. So there's this addictive sort of compound in cheese so that the baby animals eat it, but obviously as humans we're eating cheese and it's, you know, it's making us addicted to this compound.
That's why they say, I'm thinking, I'm not trying to talk from as a vegan person now, like a cow's milk or animal milk is not for us human.
It's not, no, it's not.
Okay.
Yeah,
so then, because I thought food addiction was like you're addicted to, you know how they say, like, for example, you're addicted to smoking. I get it. I also know it is the nicotine, but also I thought it's like the movement, the habit. Yeah, the habit. So I thought maybe food is just the habit of eating something.
Yeah.
Like that.
So that goes into it too. As you know, it's very difficult to break a habit. If you're in the habit of getting up every morning and having, like for me in the past, massive sandwiches with cheese and bacon and sausages and I used to do this thing where I'd have like a slice of bread, then my filling, another slice of bread, then a filling and another slice of bread. Like
it's like a homemade mac.
Absolutely. It was just ridiculous really when I think about it, but that's the kind of thing that I would eat just because I just wanted so much food all the time. So yeah, if you're in the habit of, you know, getting up and having those types of foods in the morning, or you know, going to Dixie Chicken after work or wherever you go, McDonald's or whatever, you need to break the habit, and obviously it's really hard to break habits. So that's a part of it as well. And then if you think about addictions like sex or gambling, there's no real chemical trigger, is there? But what people are doing is again, it relates back to trauma. They are using a behaviour to fill a void. So some people use food, some people use sex, some people use gambling,
you know,
etc.
I used to have a client. She called herself an addict. She said she's an addict, and she was an alcoholic, addicted to alcohol, and actually also drugs as well. Actually, right. And then now she's sober, and then she's all good now, clear and everything. But she said to me, "I'm an addict," and I was like, "Yeah, but not anymore." She goes, "No, but I'm an addict." As in, what do you mean? I said, "You're sober now," and she goes, "No, but you just basically saying that once you're an addict, you're an addict forever." So then afterwards, she explained it to me like, although I'm not drinking anymore, but I would go find something else to probably like
fill
you said,
the
void. So for her was love.
Yeah,
she would literally. As soon as she finds a guy, she dates someone, she'd be like all in. She proper like needy and things like that. Really proper needy because she said she just want to feel love.
Absolutely.
And in fact, she even told me before that she used to be an escort.
Right.
And the reason she did it is because she felt loved by these men.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Yeah, and then anyway, apart from love, she also said when she came out of rehab. She started her own business, which was not cosmetic surgery, but like those
like
fillers and stuff like that. Yeah. And she said in 6 months she turned into a 6-figure business.
Wow.
And she said because she used that addiction, basically she put that energy elsewhere.
Yeah.
And she was addicted to her business basically.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So I guess you can kind of say addiction can be good in some ways, because it just made her help her. Well, I mean, depends how you're seeing it, but if you're overworking yourself, it's not really.
Well, that's it again, because you can get burnout then. Been there, done that. But so it's interesting. So that's why Keep Me Curvy focus on self-love, because nobody can love you how you can love yourself. Like, it's really difficult for somebody else to love you unconditionally when most people don't even love themselves unconditionally. So you can't find love outside yourself, you have to find it within first.
Exactly. Thank you. And it's so true, because like going back to that girl, she actually didn't have no self-love, because I mean it was obvious, because if you have self-love, you wouldn't be like always craving for love. Do you know what I mean? So obvious, and then settling for these kind of men over.
But I think that's why you have to deal with the trauma. So you really have to go back and look at what is the root cause of, like, if I knew your client or your friend, I'd be saying, well, what has happened in your life to make you feel that you are not loved? Like, you know, what has got you to the point that you're at now, and then work to resolve that. So that's what I've had to do for myself, like a lot of deep inner work.
What did you do? Did you go therapy or anything like that?
Yeah, so I did at first. I'm not a real big fan of talking therapy. I don't think it works. And the reason I say that is because so many people spend years and years and years in therapy, and they never get anywhere. And I mean, they might on the surface, but from the people I've seen anyway, it doesn't really get you anywhere. And just to give you a bit of background, I used to be a social worker.
Okay.
Yes, I've worked with a lot of traumatised people. I used to be a domestic violence advocate, so a lot of women who experienced domestic violence and lived in refuges, so they obviously have a lot of trauma to deal with. And then my master's degree was in abuse studies, so understanding sexual abuse and different traumas related to gender. So yeah, from what I've seen, the things I've studied, talking therapies aren't the greatest things to really get into the root cause of the matter. But I did a few counselling sessions. I think I did about 10, and that just, I don't know what that did really, other than I was able to just vent, and sometimes you just need to vent.
Just let it all out and get off your chest. Like, I'm not saying that I never needed therapy. I don't think I do anyway. But you know, I'm the kind of person, I said to my friend, like, when I get angry, I hardly get angry, but when I do get angry, you just need to let me vent, like basically tell you how I feel, and then afterwards I'll be fine. I won't disrespect you, I won't curse, nothing like that, but I just need to let you know, peace of my mind, and afterwards I'll be fine.
Absolutely.
I'll be all happy.
I get it.
So what else did you do, like, in terms of inner work?
So I did a few things. So I am a very intense person. When I've set my mind to do something, I am going to go all out. So it might sound a bit extreme, but for 6 months I didn't leave the house, partly because of the anxiety. So I had to work to heal the anxiety.
Literally, as in, didn't step out, or you just didn't go out to meet friends?
It would vary. So some days, like, the furthest I would have got in that 6 month period was to the corner shop, which is like 5 minutes away. But that would have been an ordeal, like panic attacks on the way there, panic attacks on the way back. Really? So I used to get my shopping delivered through, you know, online delivery or whatever. Didn't go anywhere, but I made the conscious decision that in that time space I was going to heal. So there is, if for anybody who's got anxiety or panic attacks, there is an excellent resource called ilovepanicattacks.com, and it's an online course, which is what really gave me the idea to do my online course, because this online course helped me so much. I was like, I could sort of use this as a weight loss technique. But so anyone who's got anxiety or panic attacks, it's www.ilovepanicattacks.com, and just take the course. Honestly, it's like night and day now.
I love that.
So that's one of the things that I did. I focused on that course and really took my time to get through it. I journaled, and it was so hard to go back to, like, pain points in my childhood and really just sit with my emotions. It felt like I was being, I don't know, like open heart surgery. It was horrible, but I knew it was necessary. I read so many books. I'm a spiritual person, but I do believe in, I call, like, a higher power, God. So it was a lot of praying, a lot of journaling,
Yeah.
a lot of speaking to God.
Yeah.
A lot of reading. I read, The Body Keeps the Scar is a very good book.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And in that book, there is a chapter where it talks about trauma and weight and how a lot of women women and men, but women in particular, who have experienced sexual abuse, maybe childhood sexual abuse, and how they become overweight or obese as a coping mechanism and as a defense mechanism. So that was interesting to read. But just putting some of the practices from that book into place.
Like, it's good that the last one you just said, like putting those practices into place, because a lot of times I said before that you can read all this self-help book as much as you want, right? But if you don't do nothing about it and you don't put into practice, they mean shit.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean?
It's true.
And then because I know this girl, she was one of my clients as well. She so in our PT session sometimes we would talk about stuff, like they would tell me about the personal life, like relationship and stuff like that, right? So then she goes to me, she was telling me about the men problems, and then she goes to me one day, she was like, oh my God, Celia, I bought this new book. It's called Why Men Love Bitches.
Oh, yeah.
Have you read it before?
I've heard of it.
Yeah, I've read it before, right?
All right.
Anyway, and she goes, oh my God, I've done everything wrong. I've been doing everything wrong. And now I'm going to follow this book and so I can get it right like that. Oh. And then I started laughing because when I read that book, I was also in the beginning of my self-love journey. Right. So, and when I was reading it, that book is funny though. That book, I'll tell you one of the things that I thought funny was, it basically tells the girl to don't tell the girls, don't be a doormat girl, but be a bitch. Yeah. Because guy basically will lose respect if you're a doormat girl. If you just say yes to everything. But if you're like if you're basically you're busy and you're not as like a yes girl, then they'll be like, it's almost like, you know that it's a psychology. The more you can't have something, the more they want you, basically like that. Yeah. But anyway, so one of the chapters was saying like, if you ever do have a date and the date may be inviting that guy around your house, don't cook for them on the first time. But they said, and even the second one, don't cook for them. But what they say, if you do want to offer food, basically just buy some popcorn or some cocktail sausages and things like that. And then I just thought, that is just rude for me. I could never do that. You have a guest around though. Like I could not just offer you popcorn. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, so you would make like a full meal?
Maybe not like starter, like.
No, do you know what I mean? Like a main meal.
Yeah, probably we'll cook them something simple. Do you know what I mean? Like that. Well, that's just me anyway, because I like to cook. But you can't just offer them like olives. Do you like you're gonna spend a few hours. Do you know what I mean? Have crisps. I think that's just.
Yeah, sometimes it depends, like how well you know them, doesn't it? Like.
But I guess.
Like if someone's coming to your house, you know them well enough.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So if you wouldn't, I don't think you would invite someone the first
if you're not
time.
Yeah,
exactly. That's what I'm saying. So why would you? Anyway, that's the suggestion. Anyway, so then I was just like, I couldn't do that. But anyway, moving on. So basically, I was like to her after because this is actually quite recent. She told me, and this book that I read was like, what will you be now? 2020. So like 3 years ago. But anyway, so now obviously my self-love journey is different, like way different, way higher now. So I said to her, what I realized that I said to her, like I said, self-help book means shit if you don't practice it. As in, if you don't know about self-love, it's more important to know about to learn about self-love, loving yourself, than reading just these kind of like relationship books. Because when you love yourself, you know you have the boundaries. Yeah. And when you have boundaries, you know what you want and what you don't want, what you would tolerate in a man, in a relationship or dating, right? So all this like self-help book about relationship won't apply, because it's not one size fit for all as well, actually. And I just believe that as long as you know what you want and what you tolerate, what you will and what will not tolerate, these book is just useless, to be honest. I
think it goes back to what I was saying before. Until you deal with the root cause of whatever is making you so needy or so insecure, because there's all the attachment styles, like you know, there's like anxious, avoidant, insecure, you know, ambivalent. You need to go back to what is causing your like attachment style to be so, you know, disorganized. So you can't it's like putting a plaster on a I don't know, an amputee. Like it wouldn't work, would it?
And then you had so you was in a relationship, food addiction, and then when did you start? Was there like a point where you was like, that's it, you know what, I need to start this fitness journey or whatever? What's that in between?
So I've been overweight twice. Like, so as a child, I was chubby, bigger than most girls, and then slimmed out, and then I got to 19, got in this relationship, put on a lot of weight, so I was obese. How much did I weigh? Probably around 16 stone. So yeah, I went from 11 stone to 16 stone.
Okay.
So what I finished with that guy that I was with. Me and him were together for like 3.5 years.
Was he also unhealthy?
No, he was very slim. So he was unhealthy but very slim. So
one of those body type that just doesn't put any weight. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. So yeah, we probably looked very odd together. But yeah, it was anyway. Yeah. So that was the first time round. So what had happened was so when me and him finished, I met another guy, and he was a DJ, and he had, you know, when they put things on SoundCloud and people are like shouting them out for the birthday.
Oh, yeah.
Well, everybody was calling him a chubby chaser, as in like he likes big girls. And I was like, oh my God, I'm the chubby that he's chasing. So then, anyway, I was mortified about that.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay. And then me and him had like some dispute, an argument or something. I was like, do you know what? I'm going to the gym. I didn't care about what I was eating. I was just like, I've got a lot of negative energy in my body. I just need to go to the gym. And luckily, I lived with 3 other girls who were so healthy, and they helped me so much.
Yeah,
it
helps. It helps to surround yourself with people that are into that lifestyle.
Yeah. So one girl, she went to the gym a lot, so I just tagged along with her. And at first, I was just literally sat on the beanbags.
Yeah.
So she'd be working out, and I'd be watching.
Wait, in the
gym.
House? Oh, in the gym. You sat in a beanbag in the gym.
Yeah, it was like a student thing.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah. So yeah, and then I had a really funny experience actually at that gym.
Yeah.
So I was sat on the beanbag watching. I don't know whether I should tell you this or not.
Tell me.
Oh God, right. So I was sat on the beanbag watching my friend work out. I was at the gym.
Yeah.
And this guy comes over to me, and he's like, "Oh, can I have your number?" Blah blah blah. So I'm like, "Yeah, whatever. You're cute." Anyway, probably shouldn't have done, but he came to my house later on that night, and nothing happened.
Yeah.
But it turns out he really liked big women, and he was like, "Please, will you sit on my face?"
This is when you were 16 stones.
Yeah, so he was literally like, "I really love big women. I love big women. Please sit on my face. Please sit on my face." I literally had to push him out of my house.
He's a student.
I was a student, yeah. He was a student as well, yeah.
So those fetishes do exist.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like the amount of guys I got when I was big is like nothing compared to now. Nothing compared to now. Like I got more guys when I was big than I do now.
I really hope you're liking this episode so far, and if you are, then please give me a like. If you're on Spotify, give me a follow. If you're on YouTube, please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. That way you also won't miss any new episodes, any content, and also you'll be helping me grow my YouTube channel. Please, that would mean the world to me. All right, anyway, let's get back to the episode. And all the guys that you got when you were bigger, they all asked you to sit on their face?
No, just that one guy. He was so weird.
Okay.
I was like, I had to literally push him out of the house, like, get out. He was like really
Oh my
full
God.
on. Yeah, so yeah. I don't know if that helped, because then I started like going on the treadmill and stuff.
Yeah. What do you think of this? Someone said this, I saw it on a reel, and they was like, when a person is overweight, obese, right? And the reason why they're obese is because they don't love themselves, okay? And because they don't love themselves, they're avoidant. So they're trying to eat, so they basically, it's like an energetic field where basically they eat and eat, so then they basically repelling, so you're like create this space away from that person.
Okay, yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does, yeah.
What do you think of that? I think it's BS.
Do you think so? I don't know. I think there's an element of truth.
Because I just feel like you're eating because you make your bellies bigger to push that person away, so to not receive love.
Right. So that would. Do you remember I said there was the study that was done about the women and some men who had experienced like childhood sexual abuse. Some people do put on weight as a protective measure.
Really?
Yeah. So a lot of women, and it's unconscious. So it's like a survival mechanism. So people unconsciously believe or subconsciously believe that if they are bigger, they won't attract that negative attention or that unwanted sexual attention. So I do sort of agree. Not everybody. So I don't think that's the case for everybody, but I think in some cases, yeah.
Because when I heard it, I was like, huh? Because I get this the bit about they're not loving themselves. That's why they're emotional eating. That's why, but not necessarily want to create a barrier. But now you said that. But also, I feel like, you know, some women. I thought it's such a narcissistic thing to say for that person to say, because some women, especially women anyway, have hormonal issues.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not their fault. They probably be eating healthy and working out, but they still are struggling to lose that weight.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, like, it's so.
Yeah,
it's such an insensitive thing to say.
Yeah, it's not for. It doesn't apply to everybody, you know. So you can't say, oh yeah, everybody who's big is doing that.
Yeah.
It's not the case. Like you can't generalize.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think some people, like I said, it was a study that was done, so I'm not just going off my opinion. It was
So then anyway, after that gym, when did you start actually? Okay, after that you went on a treadmill.
Yeah,
When did you get into weightlifting and all of that?
Okay, so not then. So I got to 28. So I'd lost the weight in that time period.
Through just cardio and diet?
Yeah, cardio and diet. Really cleaned up my diet and became vegan.
Yeah. Are you still a vegan?
Pardon? Yeah, I give myself a little bit of leeway now and again. If I want a bit of feta cheese, I will.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's a bit like me, actually. I
Oh,
call myself flexitarian.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
No, I try and stick to it.
Yeah.
I think probably like 90% of my diet is vegan. 100% on a really good week.
Yeah.
So when how old was I? Like 24, and I'd lost the majority of the weight. Quite healthy, going to the gym. And then 28. That was when I had like a very traumatic experience, and I put on again about 6 stone in about 6 months. So I went from 11 stone to 17 stone. Yeah.
And it's because you was emotional eating again, back to emotional eating.
Yeah, because of the trauma that had happened, that incident, or like whatever had happened. It was in 2020, so like all the issues that were going on in 2020, and then my own sort of personal things going on, I just began to eat, and it was just a lot. So yes, 6 stones in 6 months, and I ballooned to 17 stones. So that picture that you saw was 2021.
Were you depressed as well?
Yeah, very depressed, very anxious. That's the period I was staying in the house.
Yeah.
So what had happened was I don't know whether like I said, I spent 6 months in my house, and I was like, I'm going to heal. And I realised that actually part of healing was healing my body and healing my relationship with food, and wanting to feel good about myself again, wanting to feel attractive, because at that point I didn't feel attractive. So when I was younger and I was bigger, I still felt attractive. I still felt like I was getting attention. I'm all right, you know. But at that point I didn't. I felt very low. I'd hit rock bottom. I can't say it. I'd hit rock bottom. Yeah. So yeah, I knew something had to change drastically, and I knew that I could get results with my body, and I could get them quite quickly. So I did it all wrong. I did it all the wrong way. I went on all the fad diets. I did cabbage soup. I did juicing. I don't think juicing's a fad. I do think juicing's got a place.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. But yeah, I did everything. I just, and then I wasn't getting anywhere. I was like a hamster on a wheel. I wasn't getting anywhere. So I was like, right, what do I need to do? And then that's when I started researching nutrition, fitness, weightlifting. And then just step by step. So I started with skipping outside for 10 minutes. And then again, still had the anxiety, but I'd get a taxi to the gym because I could go in a taxi and not feel as bad as like walking or getting on the bus. So
you see what you said, like you're able to go gym. So you won't have anxiety when you're in the gym?
Yeah, I had a few panic attacks, but the thing about me is because I was working on the course, I was getting better and better and better.
Right,
and I'd not really let anxiety, even though I let it stop me leaving the house, if I really wanted to do something, I would just deal with the panic and just have the panic attacks. So a few times at my gym, I'd have panic attacks, and I'd just have to like take a couple of deep breaths and then just keep going.
What triggers it?
So like I said, it's a feeling of not being safe. So for whatever reason, if you don't feel safe, your body goes into survival mode, and then all of the survival chemicals like adrenaline will flood the body. But because there's nothing happening on the outside, everything's just calm and normal, you know, your mind starts going then, because you're like, oh my God, am I going crazy? And then you get into like a really negative, anxious loop, like what's going on? My body feels like something's wrong, like I'm about to be attacked, but I'm not, I'm safe. So then your mind starts going then, and that all feeds into it as well.
So, because I used to think, because I'm really ignorant when it comes to these kind of stuff, like panic attack and anxiety. I thought it was literally overthinking things, right? And then you just start going, because you overthink things, you then go, like start like running out of breath. But I didn't really, when you just described the chemicals in the body make you go in shock.
Absolutely.
I didn't realize it's actually an internal thing. I thought it's just like you just going, oh my God, like that. I thought it was that.
Yeah, so it's both. So that so most people are unaware of the feelings in the body, and they just sort of concentrate on the mind. But this course obviously starts to make you more aware of what's actually going on. But the way I could describe it is, sometimes imagine being in a car, but you feel like you're on a roller coaster. Okay. So you know that feeling in your body when it goes, ooh, and your stomach drops and your heart's racing, and you know.
Oh, it feels like that.
It's like, or I think another way to describe it is, imagine standing on the street and you feel like at any moment somebody's going to pull the ground from underneath you. Okay. And how scary that would feel. So yeah, that's what anxiety feels like.
So then, when did you start Keep Me Curvy?
So I don't really remember when I started having the idea of it. It was just, do you know what I used to do? When I'd lost the weight and I started feeling really good and I was out and about again, I'd see women who were like very clearly overweight, and I'd want to help them. And I'd want to say, you know, there's a book. So there's a book by a man called Alan Carr, and he
What, a comedian?
No. A different Alan Carr. He's famous for his book, The Easy Way to Stop Smoking. Okay. So back in the day, I used to smoke. I read this book and I stopped smoking overnight. Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, which is really hard to do, like, normally, if you don't.
Is there like can you summarize it quickly?
Like the easy way to stop smoking.
Yeah. Like what made you stop it overnight? Like what was the method?
So what he does, he like retrains the brain. So he undoes the conditioning that got you to start smoking in the first place. And then all of a sudden you're like, why am I doing this? Yeah, so he tells you to smoke throughout the book, and then
smoke as you're reading it.
Yeah, so you don't have to give up smoking to read the book. So most people are like, I'm not doing that, I'm not giving up smoking. But he says, no, keep smoking, just read the book at the same time. Okay. And then it's disgusting, but by the time you get to the last cigarette, he's like, right, okay, now you're going to have your last cigarette. But by this time, you're like, I don't want to have it. And he's like, no, have your last cigarette. So you have this last cigarette and you're like smoking it, but you really don't want to smoke it. You're absolutely disgusted and turned off by it. And that was
hypnotised you for reading it?
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, wow.
But he's also got Alan Carr's Easy Way to Lose Weight. So that book was pivotal. I had to read that book to get it going, to undo the brainwashing and conditioning around eating certain foods and why we eat and how we eat. And so, yeah, I just wanted to go up to women and be like, oh, do you know, there's this book, and, you know, I can, you know, I just wanted to help people lose weight, you know, but I knew I couldn't do that because it's offensive.
I know what you mean.
You know, like, excuse me.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, even like when I was a personal trainer, like, we basically, if you work in a gym, we've been taught that you have to walk the gym floor, and our sell PT, like, if you want to get kind, you got to talk to people. But I'm like, logically, some people be like, you know, target the people that you think will need it. And then, like you said, it might be offensive. Do you know what I mean? They might be like, oh, I might be happy with my weight.
Absolutely. So yeah. Oh, sorry, I forgot.
You were saying that you wanted to help women.
Yeah, so I was like, right, okay, so I can't go up to people randomly in the street. What else can I do? And I was like, oh, well, you know, the anxiety course really helped me, like, recover from anxiety. So maybe if I did a weight loss course, that would help people, you know, be able to manage the weight and, you know, stay curvy and stay thick and, you know, lose the bits that they don't want, but like enhance the bits that they do want. So I did a lot of research, came up with this course, and then I thought, right, okay, I need people to know about it.
Also, your Keep Me Curvy is a course.
Yeah, so it's a brand, but the biggest sort of, I haven't launched yet, the course hasn't launched yet, but the biggest thing I want to offer people is this course, and to say, right, okay, so we're going to look at every single aspect that is got you overweight, that is keeping you overweight, and then how to overcome that and sort of unravel it. So yeah,
I love that. So are you full-time weight loss coach?
Yeah. So I've already got the background in like trauma and understanding trauma from what I studied previously. And then I did a personal training diploma, so I have that. So I wanted the knowledge. I wanted to be able to say, right, okay, I know what I'm talking about. So yeah, I did that. And yeah, so just working on building the business and creating the course, and I just want to give it everything because it's something I'm so passionate about.
Yeah, I can tell.
Yeah, not just from like a physical point of view, but from a mental, emotional, you know, spiritual point of view.
Yeah.
Like it means so much.
Yeah, and I want to talk about, you know, how I say this to people, that don't just work out for aesthetic reasons. Do for vitality. I said the physical will come regardless. I preach this all the time. The physical will come regardless.
Absolutely.
And sometimes I'm thinking, like, a lot of people, they just go gym because they want to look good. I get that, but I just feel like now you'd be so obsessed about just how you look, or the physical appearance. Is like, there's no substance. And then you forget and you neglect the inside, as in like. And another thing, when it comes to food, for example, you know how you know, a lot of people say you should count calories, macro, all of that stuff, right? But people, a lot of times, they just remember the carbs, fat, and protein, but they neglect about the vitamins, A, D, all of that kind of stuff, minerals, right? Those, I always say, the macros is the petrol for your car, so it's like petrol for your body. The vitamins and minerals, the micronutrients, is like the oil to keep the engine in the car run smoothly. So after I was saying, all the micronutrients is as important as the macronutrients.
Absolutely, for everything, for the functioning of your body. You know, like I said, I believe in a higher power, a creator, and all the food that we've been given, the natural food that we've been given, has been given for a reason. It's to keep us healthy and to keep us vital and alive.
And also they have like food with good energy, high vibration. You put in that food into your body. So like food that has no low vibration, processed food basically. And you got to think about these kind of food you're putting into your body. If you know, like there's some people who are, I know there are some people getting into probably, I won't say like beginning of their spiritual journey, but I think they also need to understand food is also part of it.
Absolutely,
you need to understand whatever you put into your body is also part of your spiritual journey.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I agree.
And so what's the next step for Keep Me Curvy?
So I haven't launched it yet. So I'm still working on the course. I don't know. I've got big dreams for Keep Me Curvy.
That's good.
Yeah, I feel like in the future, like maybe some ambassadors, people training other women, teaching other women.
TV shows.
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah, like the
so yeah, we've got the podcast. I want to start a YouTube channel. So hopefully, you know, this week, next week, I'll record for a YouTube channel just to get more information out there, just to get more awareness of, you know, the method.
So do you mind like talking about what the method is?
Yeah, so it's based on 6 key steps. So we sort of start from the ground up. So first of all, we look at, you know, self-love and like just holistic self-care, because I feel like without that starting point, you're not going to get anywhere. And then we move on to like addressing and looking at your trauma and what is causing maybe the emotional eating, if it is emotional eating somebody's suffering from, looking at food addiction. What else? A big part of the method is it's for women, it's a method for women, and it's looking at how the female body clock, so you know, women of childbearing age have the menstrual cycle. So the method will be based on the menstrual cycle, so it'll be looking at how to eat and how to move based on your menstrual cycle. So it'll be teaching women how to,
I love that.
Go through each
all
phase.
my language.
I think it's so important. Because you know, I don't know about everybody, but a lot of women, you know, at a certain point in the cycle, the luteal phase, they want to eat more and more and more, and either they restrict and like make themselves miserable and then end up binging anyway, or they'll overeat and feel really guilty about it. And
also, you're more hungry during your luteal phase because your metabolism naturally increases. So it's okay to eat more, and you want to nourish your body with more with more food and calories, basically.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Whole foods, not processed food.
Yeah, absolutely. So there'll be a lot of education around what to eat, when to eat it, why.
I love that. Did you read? Have you read In the
Flow?
Flow? Yeah, I love that book.
Yeah.
That book really changed my life, and also it's because of that book why I decided to focus on women. Became a personal trainer to empower women, to help them be stronger mentally and physically, and obviously build confidence. But when I first started in the gym, obviously you have to take any client, so I kind of forgot why I became a personal trainer. But then COVID happened, and I was just like, something needs to happen. I felt like I was just coasting. So I was like, why did I become a PT? I went back to my why, and it was to empower women. And I thought, how can I empower women, not just be any other PT, just help you do with weight loss. And I came across, and I think, it was this podcast. I can't remember what podcast it was, but she mentioned that book. And then I was like, well, let me read it. Because it was really interesting what she said about according to your cycle, things like that. And I just read that book, I think, in less than a week.
Nice.
And I was like, this is it. I'm going to focus on my clients, help them train according to the cycle. And so when my clients are on their period, I tell them, like, I wouldn't encourage you to work out. I said you can either take a week off or we can do Pilates, things like that. And then most of them are okay with it. And I don't know if you know, I've got. You do follow my other page, isn't it? mybody.uk.
I do.
I talk a lot about it, and I want women to start honouring the menstrual cycle and not like demonize it, because thinking like, oh my god, my period is disgusting and it's embarrassing. No, like, your period is actually magical. Absolutely. You're bleeding every month without dying, and you can create a baby. And when you're on your period, you actually just your body's purging, getting rid of these toxin and the excess estrogen, which is important to get rid of, and it's important to ovulate. So another thing, like, it's probably got off topic now, but leading on to like contraceptive pills, they're actually not good, really bad for your hormones, because they're messing up your hormones.
Absolutely.
Things like that. So I wish I knew this earlier. I would have not went on it.
But my friend told me about the book, and she's just amazing. Like, so I read it, and then I'd watched. I think before I read the book, I watched the podcast by Lisa Bilyeu. I can't remember what her podcast is called, but the woman who is the author of that book, Elisa Vitti, she was on that podcast, and I was like, oh my god, sold. So definitely wanted to incorporate that in.
I think every woman needs to read it, even if you don't have a period anymore. Like, even it talks about menopause and things like that. And also if you have young girls, it's also good to read and just educate them know. And also, still on the topic of a menstrual cycle, have you heard of Mindy Pelz?
No.
So I came across her at Stephen Bartlett.
Oh yeah.
She was on his podcast talking about intermittent fasting. So she's a doctor, American doctor, talk about intermittent fasting. She's got a YouTube channel, like, it's really good. And then anyway, she got this book called Fasting Like a Girl. So basically, intermittent fasting, we can do it, but not like men. We have to do it according to our cycle, and then different phases of our cycle, we have to do different lengths and things like that. If you want to get into fasting, she said. But it's really good, so fascinating. What's your relationship with your body and food right now?
I love my body, and I love eating food that is natural. So I guess it's positive. Like,
do you ever eat, as they call, cheat meal? Have a cheat meal?
No, but no.
Really? You wouldn't have a pizza or nothing like that?
Oh no, so I wouldn't call it a cheat meal.
Okay. That's what I'm saying. It's like cheat meal.
Because it's not a diet, so I would never encourage anybody to diet. But like, sometimes what I like to do is like make healthy alternatives. So like, I make, like, I don't know, a lot of like sweet stuff, but I make it with like natural ingredients like dates and like maybe maple syrup, things like that. So I like to do that. But I do
something like similar. So so I try to avoid wheat as much as possible, because Mindy Pelz, she was saying that wheat is actually really bad for you, because of, well, back in the days it was fine, but now because of the factory being stripping all the nutrients. But basically they say wheat can affects your microbiome, your gut health. It's actually really bad for gut health. So that's why it will decrease your immune system. So that because of that, like, it put me off wheat. But don't get me wrong, I still have pasta and pizza every now and then. I can't stay away from them. But I love pancake. So what I do, I use chickpea flour.
Oh, nice, yeah.
And I use agave syrup. And all of that. So
that's
the
something similar to
what
I would do.
And it's actually really nice. And add cinnamon, nutmeg, all of that. It's still coconut milk, and it's still nice. Sorry, I interrupted you there.
No, it's fine.
So would you feel guilty if you did go out and have like chicken chips or something like that, for example?
So,
but then you're vegan. But do you know what I mean? Like like
but so do you
fried stuff.
Remember when you said that your client said that she was an addict?
Oh yeah.
So I know that I have an issue with food addiction. Right. So if I eat something like that, it's a spiral for me. So I will spiral down, and I'll just want to eat more and more and more. And so then I have to put myself back on track. So I know that if I eat a pizza, for instance, it won't just be a pizza. The next day I'll have something else, and I'll have something else, else, and then I'll have to stop myself and start again. So yeah, if it happens, if I do have a pizza and I am in that spiral, it's not a big deal. It's not the end of the world. I don't like chastise myself or anything. But I know that actually I need to get my head back in the game.
But you're aware, basically conscious about it.
Because it will just spiral. It'll just lead me to eat more and more and more.
You said positive relationship with your body. So what's your final words for women out there?
Just love yourself. No matter where you are or what size you are, that's not important. Like, what's important is what's on the inside. But if you want to have a long, healthy, happy life, then it is really important that you eat a natural diet, because like you said, it feeds you from the inside, it fuels you. And also you move your body, because when you get older, you know, you want to be vital, you want to be able to move, you want to be able to bend down, you want to look good in your clothes, whether you're a size 16 or a size 6. You know, people are made differently, but you want to look good and you want to feel good. So just love yourself, no matter your size, no matter your shape, and just that's it really.
How would you tell people, because you keep saying, you said love yourself, how would you describe it to people? Because a lot of people don't actually know what it means to love yourself. They might be thinking, okay, let me just go gym and work out, or let me just put the best dress on, you know, things like that, or or put the best cream on my body.
So we've all got something, you know, we've all dealing with something. Everybody's got their own demons, whether they're big demons or little demons. And for me, the first thing we need to do is start looking at what those demons are, what caused them, and how we can resolve them. Journaling, writing things down, talking to a friend, talking to a therapist. Start with that. So start with the deepest, darkest, you know, things that are going on within you, because those things fester away. They sort of eat at your soul, and I don't think you can love yourself if you're not addressing the traumas that you've got within you. So get those up, get them to the surface, start working with them, and then I would say, like, do things like mirror work. Look in the mirror and tell yourself that you love yourself. You know, I know it sounds so cliche and so cringy, but it honestly works.
It works,
we have a spirit inside this body, and that spirit needs to know that we love who that person is, or who we are at our core. But on my podcast I talk a lot about how to love yourself and what self-love is. I guess listen to that, but really start looking at what's going on internally, things that you need to resolve, and then just start looking after yourself like you look after your baby, you know, mind, body, spirit.
And I think also touching on the point where you said let it surface, whatever it is for you, it is going to be uncomfortable. Absolutely. We know, like, it's uncomfortable, but that's the thing, like, it's strength. If you can sit with it, that is strength. That's where the growth is. You would just become stronger. And a lot of times I think we're just being programmed to think like, oh my God, if something's uncomfortable, we just avoid it. Sit with it, and have the strength to sit with it, have the courage to sit with it. And a lot of times people say, you know, for example, like heartbreak, you know, that those feelings, those emotions are really uncomfortable. People say, oh, just go out, get drunk, or start dating. No, those are just distractions. Distraction is not, it's just putting a plaster on the wound. You're not actually treating the wound. So yes, it's important to, it will take time. You don't know how long it takes. Everyone's different,
absolutely.
Isn't it?
But it's worth it, and you will get there. So it feels like it's a never-ending journey, but you do get there.
But at the end, the result is so, like you said, so worth it, and you'd be so free and happy.
Absolutely.
And there was always a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah,
Is what we're saying, isn't it?
absolutely.
Yeah.
There is.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank
It's been
you.
a pleasure.
Oh, thank you.
I'm sure everyone's inspired. A lot of people are inspired and learn a lot from me, because I've actually learned a lot about addictions and stuff like that. And yes, and anxiety. I didn't know about it, and food addiction.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
And how can people get in touch with you?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram at Keep Me Curvy, and then I've got the podcast on Spotify, Apple, and everywhere else at Keep Me Curvy.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where people can find me.
All right, amazing. Guys, if you're watching this, it's because you reached to the end. You really watched it to the end or listened to the end. Like, I'm so grateful for you. Like, thank you so much for your love and support. It would mean the world to me if you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel or follow me, and follow on Spotify. Give me a like. And if you want to connect with me, get to know me more, then follow me on Instagram at iam.celialee. All right, see you in the next episode. Mwah.